What if we could use cutting-edge AI to actually predict where our most critical infrastructure is vulnerable to wildfires? Well, a team of researchers did exactly that. They've created a whole new kind of map, one that could, quite literally, save lives. So let's break down how they pulled it off.
All right, so let's dive right in. What is the real problem we're talking about here? It's not just about trees burning in a forest somewhere. The real danger, the thing that affects all of us, is when these fires cut off our lifelines, the essential infrastructure we all rely on every single day.
And when we talk about lifelines, roads are at the absolute top of the list. Think about it. They're how people evacuate to safety. They're how first responders get in to fight the blaze. And they're how we move vital supplies. When a fire hits, these roads become the razor's edge between safety and total disaster.
And look, this isn't some abstract idea. This is real. We've seen it happen time and time again. Fires from Tennessee all the way to New Jersey have trapped people trying to evacuate, forcing them to literally abandon their cars on the road. We've seen major highways shut down for weeks. This is a weakness across the entire country.
So this quote right here, this is the crucial question that drove the research team at CNA Corporation. It's one thing to react after a catastrophe. It's something else entirely to predict where the next one could strike so you can actually prepare before it's too late.
To really wrap your head around the challenge they were facing, you first have to understand the sheer scale of this problem. And honestly, the word astronomical doesn't even begin to cover it.
Okay, get ready for this number. Between the years 2000 and 2019, U.S. roads were exposed to wildfire threats along 265,000 miles. Let that sink in. It's a number so massive, it's kind of hard to even picture.
So to make that a little more real, think about it this way. That's like driving from New York City to Los Angeles and back 50 times. Or, even crazier, it's a longer distance than a trip from the Earth to the Moon. This isn't about a few isolated incidents. This is a massive, widespread, and recurring threat.
So how in the world do you get a computer to predict a threat on that kind of epic scale? Well, it's not about just feeding it a spreadsheet. You have to teach it to see. You have to train it to recognize the dangerous patterns in the landscape itself. So, the researchers broke this incredibly complicated task down to 3 main steps. First, they had to collect all the clues. Then, they needed to prepare the map. And finally, they could train the AI.
Step 1, it all starts with good information. You can't build on a shaky foundation, right? So the team focused on a notorious hotspot, Southern California, and they used 2 key, trusted sources of data: historical fire records from CAL FIRE and super high-resolution satellite pictures from the Sentinel-2 program.
Okay, step 2. This is the translation part. They had to take all that raw info and put it into a language the AI could actually understand. So using what's called Geospatial Information Systems, or GIS, they layered everything together: fire perimeters, roads, satellite photos, the whole shebang. Then, they sliced it all up into these little bite-sized image chips that the AI could study.
And now for step 3, where the real magic kicks in. They've fed those thousands and thousands of image chips to a special type of AI called a UNET model. It's an AI that's specifically designed for analyzing images. Its whole job was to look at these pictures and learn the visual telltale signs for different levels of wildfire risk.
The technical term for what the AI is doing is called semantic segmentation. And it's incredibly detailed work. The AI isn't just, drawing a big red box around a risky area. No, it's going through and classifying every single pixel in the image, assigning each one a category like extreme risk or moderate risk. It creates a complete, super detailed picture of the threat.
So how does this UNET model do this so well? Well, its secret weapon is something called skip connections. This basically lets the AI see both the tiny details and the big picture at the exact same time. It can zoom in on, say, some dry bushes right by the road, but it doesn't forget the context of the wider landscape. It means, as the researchers cleverly put it, the AI literally doesn't lose the forest for the trees. The whole idea of an AI learning can sound really abstract, right? But the researchers had a fantastic analogy for it. Just imagine you're a hiker. You're lost in a super thick fog on a mountain range, and your one goal is to find the lowest possible point in the valley. You'd adjust how you walk based on the terrain, wouldn't you? On a smooth, downward slope, you'd take big, confident strides. But if the ground gets rocky and unpredictable, you'd take smaller, much more careful steps. Well, that is exactly how the AI learns. It's constantly adjusting its steps to get closer and closer to the most accurate answer, trying to minimize its errors every time. So,
After all that collecting, all that preparing, and all that training, what did the AI actually create? Let's take a look at the payoff, because it's a totally new way of seeing the world around us.
And here it is. On the left, you see a standard satellite image. That's what our eyes see. But on the right, that's what the AI sees. It has taken that exact same image and transformed it into a predictive risk map, color-coding the roads based on the wildfire threat it's learned to identify. It's incredible.
And how well did it work? It performed remarkably well, especially on the most severe threats, which is exactly what you want. You might notice the accuracy is a little lower for low-risk areas, but that's not a failure. That was actually by design. They focused the training data on the most dangerous places, basically teaching the AI to become an expert where it matters most.
This kind of predictive power is way more than just a neat academic exercise. These AI-generated maps have some powerful real-world applications that can directly lead to better protection for all of us.
Just think about it for a second. Disaster planners can use this to design smarter, safer evacuation routes. First responders can anticipate which roads are most likely to get cut off. Even supply chain companies like the Postal Service could use this to build more resilient delivery networks. This is a road-by-road threat assessment, and it's a total game changer.
And this is just the beginning. The success in Southern California proved the concept works. So the next logical step is to expand to other high-risk places, like Texas. And eventually, you could adapt this same model to predict threats from all sorts of climate-driven disasters, like floods and hurricanes.
What this project really proves is that AI can give us a glimpse into the future, shifting us away from just reacting to crises and toward being proactively prepared. We now know it's possible to outsmart a threat as massive as wildfires, so the only question left is, what's next?